Hey everyone, it's Mike, and I'm going to jump back into wireframes for the Balsamiq desktop client, working on the new and open dialogues. Alrighty, so in the previous session, I worked on the new and the open dialog window, and then the new project window here. And this is when we are dealing with accessing cloud projects only. For this phase 1 design, and I copied this to a new wireframe for this phase 2 design, which will include your desktop projects. So the big change here is that when you're opening a project, we will be giving you options to select files that are either in cloud or on your desktop computer. So I already have a symbol here for Mac open window. Okay, so I'm going to use this here. And what will happen now is when you select, if you open the client for the first time, or if you select project open project, you will get this open project window and select the source where the project is coming from. So what we had, I'm going to lock this, Command 2, and then I'm going to create 2 boxes. So we have the source being, either cloud or a project on your desktop. So I'm going to create 2 boxes here. And one's going to be, let's see. One's going to be from Balsamiq Cloud. Right, like that. Make it bigger with Command right angle bracket. And the other one's going to be from your desktop. Actually, let's just group that and duplicate that. And this is going to be computer. Let's just this is the comp for the demo we did. This computer. Okay, so now you'll have to select a source for where the project is located. And if we select Balsamiq Cloud, then it will come here. We want to carry over these new project and close buttons. And this should be open and disabled. Kind of like it with like that. Okay, let's make this disabled. Okay, let me update this one. Okay, we also have a little text below that says, where is the project saved? Right underneath the title. So I'm going to add that there. Okay, so the user will either double click one of these or select and then press open, and then it will open up the cloud dialogues here. We'll have to check if they're logged in or not. So this is the same flow as above. Okay, I'm going to change this to say, if yes, continue to logged in open project window. Selecting the source and choose text. We are alright, so this is actually more like this here. Actually, what we want to do is show recents at in this stage too. So we could have this recents panel on the side here, let's bring this to front, right? A panel of recent projects you worked on. Let me just crop this to fit in the smaller space here. So this could be one panel. And then on the right side, we could do these two different sources. Like this. I'm gonna just use a vertical roll here. This should be a scrolling panel, but and then this guy, just fit that better. Just thinking a little bit here. Selecting Balsamiq Cloud here, we'll go to, if user goes to Balsamiq Cloud, and then if user selects this computer, then we open up the Mac dialog. And we're going to put some note here. This is Mac file browser. Okay, so if user selects this computer, open desktop file browser dialog. I think this should work for this phase where you're selecting your file from the computer, and if not, you are going through this authentication section, and then now we need these back arrows. If you start to go down the path of logging into Balsamiq Cloud, right, and you change your mind and you want to actually go back and open a local file instead, we might need to have a way to go back through that flow up to this window again. New project is the same thing. We need to have a window like this. This is the logged in state. So we're selecting source here. New projects won't show this recents, and this will say new project. Okay, so if you are if you're actually coming from the open window above this, if you're coming from up here and you select new project, then we need to throw you into this screen. Just get rid of this stuff here for now. So new project should come down here. All right, new project should open up this window where you select your destination. Where do you want to save the project? This should be open project. Okay, so if you're selecting Balsamiq Cloud, we got to do this check again. It's no, then we're going to show the login screen. Okay, so then once the user is logged in, they have this they have this option to select the space to create the project in. Open editor. I'm just going to make this a symbol that looks like the Mac file browser. All right, I just created something that looks like the file browser. And I'm gonna just, use this as a symbol. And then I'm gonna duplicate that up here. All right, so if user selects computer, they get the open browser dialog, and then they select select project using open desktop file browser dialog. This opens. User has to select the project here, and then the editor opens. If they're using cloud, we check to see if they're logged in. If not, we show them the login screen. If they are, then they can select a project to open here. And then we open the editor here. And then if they select new project, then we ask them where you want to save the project. If they select Balsamiq Cloud, we check to see if they're logged in. If not, we show the login screen here. Once they're logged in, we allow them to select the space. They select a space and create project, and the editor opens. If they're creating a project locally on this computer, we show the desktop file browser. File browser opens, you select a folder, and then we open the editor once you've selected a folder. Okay, so this should do it for this phase 2 design. I'll get some feedback on these to see what we need to change. And in the meantime, I will start on the phase 3 wireframes to add the other services that you can open your project from. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.